Hello everyone, welcome to my maths video. Today I'm going to touch on a question in Mechanics 1. This question is taken from past year paper, June 2010. The main idea is to highlight the way to solve this type of question. Although it may seem easy, sometimes students may not execute it in the right way, so they have some difficulty because of that. The most important thing that students always forgot is that the equation of motion is basically a vector equation. So in order to solve this, you must take that into consideration. Now I've drawn a little bit of the diagram here. So projected at 14.7 from a height of 49 meters. So make it a point to draw a simple diagram like this. And then it lands on the ground here. Okay. So our aim is to find its greatest height above the ground. So all we know is, once it's projected here, eventually it will move up and slow down due to gravity pulling it down, so until it comes to the greatest height. So what we need to do is just to find this height, and then add it to the height above the ground where it's projected, which is 49 meters. That will give us the greatest height above the ground. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is always a diagram, sketch a diagram. Put in all the information, put in even the unknown that you need to find. Alright, so the next thing you want to do is write down all the information given. So in this case, we have the initial speed. We know that the object is projected upwards, so its acceleration is negative g. And we're interested in finding what is the height. Also, in reaching the greatest height over here, this velocity will be 0, so we know that information as well. Once you have listed down the known values and the unknown value, then all you have to do is try to find an equation that fits all this information. And obviously this will be the equation you'll be using. So fill it in. This is 0, u is 14.7 squared minus 2gh. So h should be equals to 0 here. 14.7 squared over 2g. That gives us the first part of the answer. Okay, let's put it down. 14.7 squared divided by 2 and divided by 9.8. That gives us an answer of 11.025 meters. So that gives us the height above the point of projection. But what we really want is the height above the ground. So in this case, we have to write down the correct answer. Therefore, height above ground, or rather greatest height, keyword is very important, greatest height above ground is 11.025 plus 49. That gives us a value of 60, yeah, 60.025 meters. Okay, the next part is pretty simple because you are asked to find what is the velocity when it hits the ground, which is over here. So if you look at the information given, we have the initial speed, we have the initial acceleration. Even though it's coming down, it doesn't really matter because the equation of motion is basically a vector equation. So we will take into account the direction. So we don't bother even though it's coming down already. And then notice the displacement. In order to travel all the way up and come down, it actually displaces by 49 meters below. So that means it is negative 49. Alright, and the final velocity is what we want to find. Now the reason we consider this is, in order to solve it, we always consider from the beginning until the end. That means the whole journey. Don't split the journey up into the journey to take travel from the point of projection until the highest point, and then from the highest point until the ground. That's a very long way of doing. Okay, so try to avoid that. Knowing that the equation of motion is a vector equation, if you take from the beginning point to the end point, you will get whatever you need. So again, we are left with these four unknown again, or four variables. Again, the same equation we'll be using. So we're going to fill in the information. So u is 14.7 squared. 2g is negative g, s is negative 49. Alright, so now work it out. We should give us this value. Give me a minute while I work it out. Times 49. That gives us an answer of square root of 1176.49. That's a 1 here. Let's put it here. Alright, the square root that will give us this answer, which is about 34.3 meter per second. Now when you get the answer, the next thing you will always want to do is to look at the answer and see whether it makes sense to you or not, the answer. Now you'll notice it's projected at 14.7. So obviously, when it passes the same point of projection over here, its speed will also be 14.7. So we expect the answer for V will be much bigger than 14.7. So since we get a value of 34.3, which is bigger than 14.7, we know that we're on the right track, more or less, unless you have calculation error. Okay, now for the last part, total time from the ball is projected to when it strikes the ground. Now again, we are interested in the total time. So beginning from the point of projection to the point you reach the ground. So again, we use the same idea. We consider the whole motion. Don't break up the motion. So if you look carefully, for part C, we're interested in time. So we know the initial distance is initial velocity is 14.7. We know the acceleration is negative g. Now we have a lot of choices. We even have the final speed. We could make use of this, or you can use the distance if you want. And we have the what we call the time that we are looking for. Now notice this 34.3 is actually heading downwards. Alright? So in actual case, the answer for the part that we did just now, it should be the plus minus there, but since it's coming down, it's negative. So the correct answer is negative 34.3 for the velocity. But the question wants speed. So the speed is actually the magnitude of the velocity, which is actually this. So we take the positive value. Now when you're going to make use of the speed, so we got to be very careful. We have to use a negative value. Alright, if you use a positive value, then you're finding something else already. Probably you can't even find it. Okay, so we have these two equations. Involving all these four variables, we will have this equation of motion. So V is negative 34.3, U is 14.7, A is negative G, T is what we want to find. Alright, so you notice that T will be equals to 14.7 plus 34.3 divided by 9.8. That gives us an answer of 14.7 plus 34.3 divided by 9.8. So we have a nice value, exactly 5 seconds. So let's see whether we answer the question correctly. So we are interested in total time. So in this case, total time would be 5 seconds. That concludes the solution to this equation. The only basic thing you have to watch out for this question is simple, but you have to know what to do. So like in this case, it should have been a square root of negative. Alright, because the velocity is pointing downwards. At this point it's pointing down. Initially it's pointing upwards. We have put the upward direction. Here's my positive direction. So if it's downward, it has to be negative. So the velocity we are getting is a negative. So the negative here just indicates the sign, the direction. So in order to get the speed, we take the positive value. Alright? So and the thing you have to watch out is also that when you're using the velocity for the part C, you need to use the negative value to work it out. Otherwise you may not get the right answer. Okay? Of course there are other equations that you can use, like s equals ut plus half at squared. If that's the case, then your s will be negative 49. Alright, and it will work out to be the same thing. The reason why I'm not using it is because if you're using s equals to ut plus half at squared, then you have a quadratic equation to deal with. So using the velocity equation is a lot easier, save you all the trouble. Alright, that's all for today, for this video. Thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe and leave any comment that you would like me to know. Thank you. Bye.